Hey y'all! So my name is Kiera, and I will be your host today for What's Love's Got to Do with It. So I ask right now that you hit the share button. Please share, share, share. We're gonna let some people come on in. You do not want to miss this, so make sure you go ahead and share this. We have two phenomenal couples who are married couples who are going to come in and give us some good advice. Keep it real with us and tell us what's love's got to do with it. What does it have to do with it? So please, right now, I ask that you share it. Share it. I'm watching on my phone to see. Are you guys sharing it? Share, share, share. And I'll give y'all a couple seconds to share to make sure we're sharing it because we're on all social media platforms. So if you're on Facebook, Instagram, go ahead and share. And we also ask that you text YAMS. Text YAMS. Make sure you text us. I'll give you a couple more seconds. Oh, there you go. Text YAMS to 94000. Text YAMS to 94000. And we'll give you a couple more seconds. All righty. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add in the Prestons and the Jeffreys. So we have the Prestons and the Jeffreys with us. Hello, guys.
Hey.
So we first want to thank you guys for taking the time out to come in to speak to us and tell us what's love got to do with it. So we know that Mark 10:9 says, therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate. So we want y'all to tell us what's love got to do with the whole marriage thing. So if y'all could introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about your significant other, about you, something you love about them, whatever it is, and then we'll hop into some questions.
Prestons.
Cool. I'm Janelle Preston.
No, Jason Preston.
We are a married couple. We've been married for going on 16 years. It'll be 16 years in,
No, I knew that. I was surprised that you knew.
Oh, wow.
We started early, huh? Early.
Right in. Yes, in a couple weeks, it'll be 16 years, and they have been 16 of the best years of my life. I'm blessed, full of joy. Not to say that every day is a great day, just being real. Every day is not a great day, but hey, we're together.
That's
so
right.
Thank God.
That's
okay,
right.
16 years, that's goals right there.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to?
You start off with that.
I'm not really a talker, guys, but I'm Kanikia Jeffries.
And I'm Octavius Jeffries, and we've been married 8 years, going on 9 years this year. So it's just half of the person.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Look at that.
Share some things with me, brother. I'm also up here learning too, so share these next years. Yes, we've been together for been married for 8 years. We've been together 14, 15 years all together.
This year.
Yep. And so we're happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
No, thank you.
Perfect. Okay, and we see you, Tony. So if you comment, we can also see your pictures. We can see you come in, so we say hello also. So y'all make sure y'all go ahead and comment if you want to while we're going through, so we can see what you guys are saying. So our first question, we want to know, how did you guys meet? So y'all been together for a long time, but where did it start? Who spit game and who first? Who like who? Who's interested? How did it
go? You better
MC.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm with you. I start, y'all. Okay, I start. So we met in middle school. We originally met in middle school. So just the little passing notes back and forth, and that's how we originally started.
No. First, he like he didn't like me.
Oh man, you gonna go into that? So now you with Mr. Preston over there shooting.
He wasn't interested.
Right, bring it up.
Well, we see.
She's telling the truth, and but it really evolved once we. So I always like to look at it like God and fate and just things happening. She went to another high school, so we split, and I went to Wake Forest, and she went to Wakefield, and she was actually supposed to be going to Wake Forest. That's what she was supposed to be at. That was her date. So I'm gonna throw up her parents out there. She was supposed to be at Wake Forest anyway, but she was at Wakefield. But somebody came and they snitched on her, they told on her, and so they actually had to transfer her from Wakefield back to Wake Forest. And so that's how we started back talking and getting back, connected or whatever. And so that's how the relationship started. School sweethearts, and then from there. Yeah.
Okay. Presidents?
How we met.
Yeah.
I saw her eating a Hardee's hamburger one day. I said, "It look good. Can I have a bite?" She said, "Yeah." That was it. No,
What kind of hamburger was it?
So we met in middle school too. We both went to Lincoln Middle School. She was in 7th grade. I was in 8th grade, and we were in the same class. And we figured out that both of us were playing basketball. So she was on the girls' team, I was on the boys' team, of course. And we devised a way to trick our teacher into letting us out of class about 3 or 4 days a week early. Normally we only had games like twice a week. So what we would do was like, "Hey, we got a game, we need to leave, we got to catch the bus," and we would just go hang out and stuff like that. And
we were terrible.
Yeah, we were terrible. Ended up kicking it from there. Yeah, we were boyfriend, girlfriend for that year, and then I ended up, like you said, we went to different high schools and stuff like that. And then come around my senior year, I was like, you know what?
He didn't have no prom date. He was like, well.
In actuality, no. So, no. I gave her a call, saw what she was doing, and then, it just started from there.
Okay. You wanted me because I was fly. I just wanted to make that clear.
Straight up. Just be straight up. Be straight up.
I mean, straight up. Be clear.
Be straight up. Yeah.
Right.
I had to
help me pass English.
Hey, look, I had to admit, when I saw the white Air Force Ones walk by me, it made me. It was a low top. It was a low top white Air Force Ones.
In the name belt.
And the name belt. The name belt.
The name belt.
Oh, that's a throwback. The name belt. Okay, I love it. So it's like you both couples were met. Y'all had history. Y'all had some time apart, went different directions, but then y'all ended up back together. So that's dope that both of y'all had that in common. I didn't even know that. So we saw everybody saying hey, and we see the comments coming in. So our second question was, you guys have already kind of answered it. How long y'all been together / married? We've already kind of answered that. So we're gonna go. Are you guys alike or different? Because some people say that opposites attract, but I also heard that some relationships, they're the same too. So are you guys alike? Would you say you're alike, or are you different, or what do you see pros and cons with that, or however y'all want to answer that question?
I think I can speak to that a little bit about us. Our backgrounds are a little different. Our values are the same. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's very, very important in connecting with someone, in building first a friendship and then building a relationship, and that ensuring that you have the same values. So regardless of if you were raised in church or not, if you came from a 2-parent home or not, if your values are the same, I really feel like you can find that common ground and find those connections, and you can be that power couple that you want to be, I guess.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think man, you said that perfect. I mean, that's right out the box. I mean, we have things in common as far as our backgrounds, but yeah, definitely different background stories, but we're raised with those same core values, of life and family and all of those things. If I can go another route, I would say we're both Aries. Like we're both Aries, right? And we always laugh because the normal thing for Aries, you trying to butt heads, you trying to go right. But I feel like ours is a little different. I feel like we may butt heads. We go through things just like any other couple goes through things, and we have our situations. But it's more so us locking horns to like fight and get through life. Like that's how I kind of look at it, because we may be different. Where she'll tell me like I'm more of the laid back. When I'm real laid back, like I am just laid back. I move, And, you know, unless there's something that really, really pulls me to have to, you know, react in a certain way, I'm more so the more laid back person. Like, she's more of the person that's like, you know, like, let's go, let's get it done. Let's move, right? Yeah. You know, and so it balances our life out, because, you know, we need both of those. You need both of those going through life and going through journey. And so we balance each other out when it comes to that. We differ when it comes to that, but we're the same, like you said, when it comes to our values and family.
Mm-hmm. I love it. And I think a lot of people were saying values are so important, that was good friendship. So they're loving the advice that you guys are giving. So our next question is going to be, what is one thing you love about being married to your spouse? Or just one thing you love in general? What do you love about it? What is it?
Who taking this? Who taking this first?
Oh, this must be a good question.
Well, I love that I have like a life partner that I can go through anything with. Whether it's the ups and downs, we were able to experience good things together, bad things. But I know I always have somebody that will always have my back in any situation, and we can always lean on each other. So I love that about my marriage, about being married.
That's crazy. That's crazy, because she sent me the questions for me to look at. I've been moving around. I've been, you know, going around and working today. So she sent me the question, and I looked at that question. That's the same exact thing that I thought. I thought that if, you know, life is going to take you into different places, right? Life is going to take you places. God is most definitely going to take you, you know, to different places and just circumstances and growth. And I thought in my head, like, I want to be with her. Like, I want to be with her as I go through those things, right? I want to be with someone that can experience those things with me, who can live that life with me, who can, you know, grow with me. And I can also look at and push and motivate just as much as she pushes and motivates me. And I think that's very important in life and in a relationship. Like, you want that, you want that, you know, you want that. You just want to be able to have that person there that you can experience those things with, and you can grow with, and you can live with. And it's important.
Yeah, I would piggyback off of the same thing that Kanikia was saying. It's a beautiful thing when, I mean, you have that person to run to. Mm-hmm. You have that person to share your happy moments, but also you have that person that's going to help you through your sad moments, the low points in life. And I think one of the things that we were going to discuss is what is the thing? How did you know? And how I really knew is because, oh Lord, why am I getting emotional? Whew.
Because it's real.
He has seen my absolute worst. He has seen me at my lowest, and I am not ashamed of it. I'm not embarrassed of it, and nor has he ever made me feel like, oh my God, you acting real crazy right now. He has always been that person. He has always been that person to prop me up and just be like, look, okay, dust yourself off, stand up straight, put your chin up, and do what you got to do. And I'm the type of person who needs that. Now, that might not be what every other woman needs to hear, but I'm the type of woman that needs to hear, get up.
Yep.
Get up.
Who we need to find.
Stop wallowing in it. You're better than that. Stand up, adjust your crown, all of that stuff. Like, he's that person. He's a coach. So as a coach, he coaches all the time. And I mean, I need that. And so that's what I love about being married to him. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You said it all. You said everything.
What she said.
I know, really, real talk. I mean, because she has my back. Like she said, even at my worst moments, even when she knows that I'm messing up or I'm in the wrong, she's still gonna have my back. And then in you know, the few moments later, she'll be like, hey, you know that won't right. You know you should have said it a different way and things like that. So I know that she has my back in my best and my worst moments, and I can appreciate it. I love her. I've always loved her.
Aww. Jason was serious. I've never seen him so serious before.
Oh, you want me that crazy?
No.
Turn it on now. Let's go.
That was good. Yeah. Jeffrey, do y'all want to answer that question? Since we already kind of went in there, you know, how did you know that your spouse was the one? Or
Yeah. You want to?
We were really young, so he was just different than everybody else. My dad has always instilled in me how a man should treat me. He's always showed me how I should be respected. You know, when you have someone come to your house, they're not to be blowing the horn. They get out, they ring the doorbell, they come, they open your door. You know, and he's always done that even since middle school. Even though we really didn't even know what it was really to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, he was always a gentleman. He was always different from all the other guys that were running around trying to, you know, touch butt and do stuff like that. Like, he's never been that tight. He was always respectful. So
even though I did, I mean, she really shined on me, but I got my grabs in every now and then. only because I knew it was gonna be mine. And that's all because
hey, we gotta keep it real, right? People got to know the truth.
We gotta keep it real. But how I knew she was the one, I can tell you. So, you know, going through life, like we said, we're keeping it real, right? Going through life, you know, we were together, and we had those times that, you know, like you said before, like where I was at my worst, you know, where I need to be, you know, I need to be uplifted. You know, where I've seen her at her worst and she need to be lifted. And it's like God almost, like right before I proposed to her, it's like God like just kind of like shined a light in my face or shook me and was like, is this what you want to lose? Like, do you want to lose this? Do you want, okay, I can put you back out there. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can put you back out there and, you know, you can see, but do you want to lose? And it's like he just started showing me glimpses of things that she would do, or the way that she would react, or the way that she would, you know, just carry herself as a woman. And I could see, like, he showed me clearly, like, she's your wife. She's a wife, like she's your wife. So like, it's like he showed me that, and so many times you pray for things and you want you know, God to give you answers, but then when he shows you, you either run from it sometimes, or you don't see it or whatever. But I saw it, and I knew it was time for me to say, okay, yeah, I need to make her my wife. So that's how I knew. Yeah.
Oh, how do you guys? I'm gonna jump around a little bit. I don't know if y'all got the questions in front of you, but how do you incorporate Christ in your relationship? Any new ideas? I know, you know, I'm sure you guys pray together, you go to church together, but how do you kind of incorporate that? Because I know sometimes when you're young, I'm not gonna say everyone's not a Christian. That's not what I'm gonna say, but you know, you might come from two different backgrounds, or you really like somebody, or whatever it may be. How do you go about making sure that you incorporate that and that stays consistent in your relationship, even with kids? Because y'all both have kids, two kids, you know, different age, but y'all both have kids. So how do y'all get that time to still incorporate that?
I'll let y'all go first.
Y'all go ahead. Y'all go ahead. You
sure? You sure? Okay.
Yeah,
okay. She went to go check on the kids. You know, speaking of kids and things, yeah, she's checking on them. But I would say, so that's one of the values that I think that we were talking about earlier, that we both grew up, you know, in the church. Like we both grew up with those values and those core values of prayer, of faith. And so in our life every day we pray together. So that's just something that we incorporated. As a matter of fact, somebody at one of my mentors at Friendship, he told me when I was getting ready to get married, he said, before your wife leaves the house, you make sure you pray over her every morning. This is before I got married. He was like, you make sure you pray over her before she goes and enters into the world. Like you need to pray for covering over your wife before she enters into the world, right? And so for whatever reason, that stuck with me so hard that even before I got married, when we did take that step, I took that serious. And every morning before, like clockwork, every morning, no matter if we going through it or if we having one of those mornings at night, I'm grabbing her before she going out that door, and I'm praying with her, and I'm praying for covering over her before she even goes out into the world and goes out into face the things that, you know, I know is out there for her to face. So that's one core thing that I think that we keep, you know, in our values. Like we pray, we make sure, you know, even with our children, like starting off with simple things like making sure that we teaching them how to pray over their meal, and you know, and then talking about God, you know, and just making sure they stay, you know, in things. So yeah, I think that's how we incorporate our faith in God, and prayer and faith.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think I looked at that question a little bit differently. The question was about fitting Christ into your relationship, but my thoughts that came with, I actually started writing when I saw that question. It kind of struck me. It made me really evaluate myself first, and then even before thinking about our relationship, but evaluating myself. And so the first piece of that, and making sure that you have a Christ-centered relationship, is to make sure that you have a personal relationship with Christ as an individual. So I have to be saved, and more than that, actually have a relationship with Christ. And then also understanding how to build that relationship with Christ, like they said, through prayer, but also through service, and also through understanding what your purpose or your calling is. And that's hard as an individual, to understand what your calling in the kingdom is, but then in a relationship, to help each other find your purpose in the kingdom, and then also building each other up so that we can live that purpose to the fullest. And so instead of trying to put Jesus into a box, where I'm gonna put him in my relationship, where am I gonna place him? I have to give everything to him. And that includes my relationship, that includes my sex life, that includes my money, that includes my job, that includes my children, that includes everything that I do. It has to be Christ-centered. Instead of trying to fit Jesus in, oh, let me not forget to pray, let me not forget to do these things. But when you have that relationship and your life is Christ-centered, and then also when you growing together in Christ by serving God in the church, by serving God in the community, by serving God in everything that you do, then when your relationship with Christ grows like that and you've surrendered everything, let me tell you how blessed you will be. Let me lean into this camera. When you surrender everything, and that includes your relationship and everything, let me tell you how blessed you will be. I didn't realize that. I'd always heard it, but when we made the decision as a couple, like, look, we got to give everything to God. Doors start opening, windows start opening, crazy stuff starts happening. And I'm not, talking about like prosperity, financial stuff. That's cool too. That's great. But let me tell you, you begin to have a level of spiritual intimacy. I don't know if I'm going too deep right now, but
we want to hear. We want to hear.
You begin to have, am I talking too much? Okay. You begin to have a level of spiritual intimacy that you cannot even imagine. And when I say intimacy, I'm not necessarily talking about sex, but that too. But the intimacy that I'm speaking of is the closeness that you will find with your partner, that when Christ is at the center, the wholeness that you feel, the completeness that you feel, the warmth that you feel, the covering that you have, it's just like nothing else. And so what I would say to people is, make sure that you're not trying to put Christ in a box. Like, I'm cool if I just pray every day. I'm cool if I just, everything needs to be Christ-centered and Christ-surrendered. Am I cool? Is that it?
I know you, Reverend Enoch E. Holloway, though.
Hello.
I mean, is there a virtual collection plate around here somewhere? I'm telling you, I needed that.
That was good.
Yeah, it's just because God is big. God is big. And too big to put in a box. Like, he's the creator of all things.
Right.
You can't put Jesus in a box.
That's right.
So you have to be willing to just give it up. It's hard. It's hard. It's not easy. It's, they say easier said than done. It's not easy. But I'm telling you, if you really want to reap those benefits of that spiritual intimacy, if you really want to reap those benefits as a follower of Christ, just give it up.
I think that's good. I mean, I'm like, okay, we done. Like that was good. And I think the thing that really stood out to me the most from Jenny, what you said, is that, a lot of people were worried about this segment because we had two married couples, and they were worried about, we were just going to talk about marriage and that thing. But you took it a step further to say, no, hold on, before I can even get with my husband to grow this, I got to make sure I'm together. So if you are single, or if you are engaged, or if you are looking, or whatever it may be, Jenny just said it, summed it up. But before you can become together, you got to make sure you got yourself together and you are surrendering. So that really touched me too, just because it is, you try to think about how do you grow together, but you got to make sure you're doing your parts as individuals first. And this is the time to work on you. So, I'm like, okay, what's next?
And then as a couple, once you've committed to that spiritual growth, then as a couple, you got that automatic accountability partnership. And so it, just like he was saying before, like when you need each other to prop each other up, you're there, like you've got it.
That's right.
And I can speak as a woman. When you have a man who not only cares about you physically, not only cares that you have a roof over your head, not only cares that you dress well, not only cares that, you feel okay, but they care about your eternal soul, that's a whole nother level of intimacy that, you will experience in a Christ-centered relationship. And so, I ain't trying to be, I'm about to tell too much. You can stop me, but I'm about to tell too much. When I tell you, there are certain things, and this sounds extra crazy, and so unmarried people might not understand this, but when he prays for me, something shoots through me. And I be like,
that's a different level of intimacy that you're talking about.
It's a different level. It's a different level. I'm telling you. On the World Wide Web. I'm sorry. But
no, you got to be real. Yeah, look.
It's just real talk.
Yeah,
that's good though, because it shows you that you're saying it's a different level. And some people may not understand. There might be people that have been married for years that still may not understand that yet. But what you're saying is that once you get a man for you, and or vice versa, because for a man, they may want somebody to pray for them. So you're saying when you get that's more than buying me a purse. That's better than cooking me a meal. Like you're basically, I love it.
It is.
Okay.
I mean, I like when you buy me purses and
right. Pray
I like when you pay the hair and stuff.
Yeah, don't take it off the list, but
like don't stop there.
You heard what she said? She said, "Pray before you buy it." That's pray
before you make a purchase.
Right.
Let's see. What is, and I think we kind of touched on this a little bit, but what is most important about dating or being in a relationship? Or you could say like what's important about dating in general. There may be some people out here that are dating and want to get to where you are with their mates, or maybe they're single. I'll combine a couple questions. Or maybe they're single and there's some advice you want to give them. Everybody, I'm not gonna say everybody, but most people want that companionship, or they want somebody to be with, but they may be having some stuff going on or whatever. What kind of advice could you give someone who is single, that's a young adult, engaged, newly married, or something that's important when you are looking to date? However you want to kind of do that one.
Y'all are closer to
I'm a yield to the millennials.
I know y'all. I would say, and just to pull from some of the things that we've already kind of touched on, especially what Jenny said about working on yourself. Yeah. About working, they're gonna be But I would say working on yourself and knowing who you are first, right? Knowing who you are, knowing what your relationship is with God first and foremost, right? And then making sure you know who you are and know what values you have and know what just know where you're going in like just have that already, know what you know yourself, right? Before you do that. And then another thing that I would say, if I would go back to, before I asked Kanika to marry me, what I said earlier as far as making sure you watch for those signs, right? We pray for things and we ask God for things. And I've been guilty of this myself, in stages of my life where God will show me clearly what it was that I prayed for. He'll show me clearly, give me a clear sign. And because it's not the answer or because it's not what I want to see at the time, he's not saying that. Okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna move here, right? And there's also been times where I say, you know what? Let me tap into what I know God is trying to tell me, and let me move the way he's and the outcome of that situation was so much more, just it was. I know that I was hearing and listening to God when I moved in that direction. So if I was to give any advice to a single person, is to, first off, like I said, know your relationship with God. Make sure you know who you are, and then in knowing your relationship with God, the things that you're praying for and what you're looking for when you're seeking, a mate or an individual to enter life in, make sure that you look at those signs. Don't ignore the things that you know clearly is coming from God and He's trying to tell you something, right? Like, pay attention to it. Like, pay attention. Like, pay attention. Like, just pay attention. Yeah, there you go. Like, just pay attention.
Put that on the bottom of the screen. Pay attention.
Just pay attention. Pay attention. Like, just as simple as that. Pay attention, because if you pay attention and you start moving in the direction that you know He's showing you, right, even though it may not be even though it may not be exactly the way that you want it to look, or it may not feel exactly the way that this fairy tale imagination of what I was thinking I want it, right, even though it may not be boxed up like that. Pay attention. If you prayed about something and He's showing you things, don't second guess that. Like, move and make sure that you're paying attention and listen to what he's trying to show you. So that would be the biggest piece of advice, because if you do that, everything else will follow. If you pay attention, and if you line up with what it is that you've been praying for, and what God is showing you, everything else under that will line up, and it will work out, because I know it did for me, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
And I just want to piggyback on what Octavius was saying about listening to God. I know that Janelle and I were actually having this conversation last night about listening, and when you hear God and things like that. And to me, God doesn't talk to me like, Jason, you need to do this. He doesn't talk to me like that. Jason, you need to listen. He does not talk to me like that at all. I'm real talk. This is real talk. Yeah. He talks just like he says real talk.
He say real talk.
Yeah, he'd be like, sit your tail down.
Oh,
yeah. Real talk.
He tell me straight up. When he tell me straight up.
Real straight up. You really got to listen to him. So he's not going to come to you how you're not going to hear him. Right. So he's going to come to you how you are. So for me, I am a real talk, no nonsense. I'm gonna give it to you how I receive it. So that same thing is with God too. So I know that when I get really tired, that is God talking to me, and He'll go like this, sit down. And sometimes I don't listen, because like some of y'all saw that Facebook post the other day when my daughter played a real joke on me. But that was God's way of telling me to sit down. He told me I needed to relax. I needed to step away. And sometimes He'll tell me, hey, Jason, just come to me. Just come to me. Just talk to me. And sometimes I'll just go sit in my office, and I'll sit in my chair. It's got my butt prints in it. So it's like perfect for me to just sit there.
It's formed to his behind.
It's formed to my behind and formed to my back. But I just sit there. And sometimes my kids think I'm sleep sitting there, but I just got my eyes closed and I'm just talking to God. So like you said, you just have to listen. You have to be willing to listen to God.
Yeah. We love it. Okay. And so I'm gonna have one more question, and we'll let the some of the followers and viewers, if they want to ask a couple questions, we will do that. So my last question that I had prepared was, what are some misconceptions about marriage? So, there's a lot of things about marriage. I don't know if you guys want to just talk about one that, hey, this is what they said, but this is not how it is. Or,
Well, what's a misconception you have? Or something that you think how marriage is supposed to be?
I'll say, okay, well, I ain't got that many misconceptions. One. So I would say that one misconception that I know that I hear some people say is that when you get married, it gets boring, or you're with the same person. Now, with y'all, and I'm not saying this to me personally, I was doing some Googling. Let me throw that out there. But trying to find some questions for tonight. And it was saying that when you get married, you might get bored because you're with the same person for 20 years. And y'all been together since middle school or off and on, whatever. So that is a long time, although you've been married for 16 or 8. Y'all have been together, been with this person for a long time. And so people say that you'll get bored. When kids come into place, you don't date. It gets boring. You lose that intimacy or that friendship that you're building. People they say that kind of stuff, that marriage then may become boring. So what's the point of getting married? What's the point? Because, you can whatever. So I guess that's where I'm kind of going with misconception.
Yeah, it'll get boring if you let it.
Exactly.
I mean, if you allow it to be boring, boring people are bored. So if you let yourself be boring, then yeah, it's going to be boring. But when you in marriage, I think one of your main goals should be to bring joy to your spouse. Mm-hmm. And that might call on you to be creative in some ways. Do some things you ain't never done before. This is grown people on here, right? Like, we are adults, in marriage, you can do some things, you can. Let me get back holy. Okay, so back to speaking about the spiritual intimacy thing I was talking about before, like, you don't have any shame, or you don't have to be embarrassed about things. You can have conversations that, hey, I would prefer if you did this instead of that, or when you say this makes me feel like this, or you can say that. Just, it'll get boring if you let it. But, I would say don't let it get boring. When you feel like it's getting boring, you better switch it up. You better get you a new wig, buy you some new drawers, do something.
I know.
Exactly.
I know.
Don't let it get bored.
I know I'm coming on the tail end. You may have already said this, but communication. Did you say communication for sure in that area? You have to communicate. You just got to be able to you got to be able to talk to your spouse. You got to be able to, because you don't let it get, you don't even let it get close to that.
Not be offended when your spouse makes a request of you. Right. And not take it personally like you're doing something wrong. Right. But hey, let's do something different and receive that communication.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right.
I saw on Pinterest they do date night jars. Y'all do date night jars where they put the ideas in there and you pull it out. I saw that for a bridal shower party. They had that thing.
That's some new stuff. I don't know how that.
Hey, I'm like, hey, we're going to Sizzle. Let's go. We're going to.
You home? Oh my God,
The Sizzler.
Hey, the old people out here do. Sharon, you know what it is, don't you?
I didn't even know they had a sizzler enough. She said it don't.
Well, I think that's good too, because then if you're dating, let's see, Samantha said sometimes we get stuck in routine of doing work and school and being parents that we forget to be married. Yeah, that's kind of where my question was coming from.
Yep.
So y'all have to find that balance. Is that what y'all saying?
Absolutely.
You have to make sure that you make time for your spouse, intentional time. Because it's easy, especially, both of us do a lot, but as a mother, you get locked up in making sure the house is clean, making sure the kids are taken care of, and like you said, working and all that, especially right now during this pandemic. It is a lot with kids at home and working and school. So we have to be intentional with making time for one another. We don't play. Our kids in bed in about another 10 minutes after this call, they're going to bed. And you have to make sure that you make time for your spouse, whether it's an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is. Make sure that you have one-on-one time, no phones or anything, just us.
Yeah. And if you're tired or not, you know,
Yeah.
you have to. You
Mhm.
have to. If you sleepy, it don't matter. You have to. Your spouse, your marriage has to be your priority.
Exactly.
And protecting your marriage has to be a priority as well.
Yep.
Protecting it from protecting. I'm reading the comments sometimes. My prophet said,
Okay, a W either.
Indiana.
Hey, Mike.
You have to make each other a priority. You have to, you know, whether you feel like it or not. It is. You're right, Nasia. It's a sacrifice, and but the sacrifice is for the good of your marriage. And if your marriage is good, then you're good.
And I know we talked a whole lot about the physical and everything like that, but the mental is in there as well. So
Yes,
I
sir.
know this whole COVID and this pandemic thing is a tragic thing. We've had family members get sick, and you know, we've had friends get sick and things like that. But in our house, and I hope this doesn't offend anyone, I think this COVID thing, with us being in this quarantine, the quarantine portion of it has really brought us more together as a family. And that may be something that, you know, might not be common, but in our home it has. So we were always ripping and running between the kids having basketball practice, dance, me having various things at a church, Janelle having various things at a church, work, things of that matter. But business, yeah, DJing, partying, all that type of stuff. But this actually made us sit down. So Nick is how old? 12? Yeah, Nick is 12. And I want to say over his first 11 years of life, we probably sat down maybe 20 or 30 times as a family and ate together. And that's real talk. That's real talk.
But it's true.
That's real talk. But over this pandemic, we have sat down probably 95% of the time together and ate dinner together. And that like was just like it's a blessing to me. And then we were actually able to sit down and talk with our kids like, hey, how was your day? How's school going? Things, I mean, those are, you know, basic random questions that we would ask every day, but we can actually get more in depth with it. We can actually ask them, you know, so what did you learn? So how do you feel about that? Because right now, if you're married, you have kids, or if you just have kids in general, it's hard. Talk to your kids right now. Just please talk to them. Ask them anything. Just make them talk to you. And then they may, you know, come up with something that was off the wall that you say, hey, maybe we need to go see something about that. Right. Or maybe something like, hey, they're reaching out to me and they need something. So this time, like I said, this time I think has brought us together more as a family. We actually planted a garden in the backyard. We had sort of things, and
it's all dead now.
Half of them died. But we tried.
The attempt is what counts. That's what counts.
Yeah.
Right.
Y'all do it together.
We put some good effort into it.
That's right. Yeah.
And like you said, we've been trying to do more things as a family. So we have movie nights. We'll have Preston dance parties. I mean, we'll just do random stuff. But like I said, if you have kids or you're thinking about having kids, make sure that don't leave them out of your marriage. Your spouse is number one. Right. But your kids are 1A and 1B. And don't let nobody else, or don't let Facebook, don't let social media fool you into tricking you into all different types of things, talking about, oh, my daughter come first, or my mama come first, or something like that. This one right here comes first to me. This one right here.
I love it. So right now, do y'all have any questions that y'all like to ask the Jeffries or the Prestons? We can see them coming in. If you do any questions, it could be about marriage, it could be about fun things that they do, whatever. Any question that you'd like to ask them before we end. They are great people to get advice from. So let's see if we can get 3 questions. Let's see. And I saw some of y'all up there, so don't make me call y'all out and try to get y'all to give us a question. Shayla said, "Oh, that's not a question, Shayla." What is an obstacle that you feel has made your marriage stronger?
I'll take that first. the obstacle has been exactly what my brother Mr. Preston was talking about over this pandemic, and just so I can speak from my perspective. So our situations when we first started the pandemic, or we went out in quarantine, was a little different. She was still having to go into work every day, and my job, we started working remote. We started working from home. So initially, for the first maybe 4 months, maybe about 4 months of everything starting off, I was at home working with the kids all day, working kids, little man running around, just it got really, really stressful. And so as a man, that really tested me. That really tested me, because there were some times where I was so frustrated, I didn't even know where to turn and how to react and how to do things, trying to just go through and figure out my family, keeping my family safe, just all these things that were on a lot of our minds as we were going through this, on top of working at home with the kids for the most part. So her being the closest person to me, when she would come home or whatever, some of that frustration, she would feel that and it would be a place where we had to figure out a balance to figure out, okay, look, I'm still going out here working, but when I come home, I'm still going through life and I'm still tired as well, even though you're here with the kids and you're working as well. And so it just really, really tested and really pulled on the relationship, is just trying to figure out how to maneuver and how to make sure that we created that balance where it made a healthy environment for our family. And we finally did that through prayer. God took us back to some core things throughout that time last year, some core, just core things, praying, fasting, just all of these things that he brought us back to the point where he made us better for it this year. Going into this year, all new perspectives, all new vision. And one of those things that really, really hit me, and I feel like God was really, really hammering to me as a man, was that I have to make sure, and it goes back to what we've already been talking about. I have to go back to working on me and being the best me that I can be, and hope that in turn, once I put that energy out, my spouse will see that and they will match that energy, and they will work on themselves and be the best. And that's exactly what ended up happening when I said, okay, let me stop focusing so much on what I want to, I want to, you to change, or I want you to do, or I want, I'm going to focus on what I know I need to do. I'm going to focus on what I know I need to do to be a better man for my family. And once I did that, that energy was matched, and she was doing the same thing. And we start coming to the table, just, ready to focus and lock in and do what we had to do to make sure our family was where it was supposed to be. And so, through that, we were able to start this journey of starting our own business. And, we were able to get that off the ground. And that all came from, just like I said, just that war that I felt like, or that storm, that I felt like, God was taking us through to make sure that we were better for it, going into, this year. And so, that's exactly that's what I would say. That was the hardest test of this last year, just going through all that stuff and figuring that out and coming out on the other side better for it. Yep.
That's good. And what's your new business? Go ahead and put your plug in there.
Yeah, plug your business.
Everybody can know
That's right, girl. Support your man. Go get his card.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do. So the business is this guy. Yep, this guy. And funny, that name came from I haven't told too many people, but that name came from a comment that we make every time God would just like show out and do something crazy for us, and like just like we would be like, this guy, like wow, you know what I mean? Just and so so that's where the name came from. But it also it was a good, it fit for the marketing of it as well. But we do electrostatic disinfectant spraying. So it's a new technology that is causing a way more effective way for you to disinfect. It's COVID approved. So it does. So the solution is EPA certified that we use. It's used to kill COVID, and it kills bacteria, mold, mildew, and it's just a whole new effective technology that when you spray and when you go out, you're spraying with an electrostatic gun. And so what it does is it charges up the solution that you're using. So when you charge the solution that you're using to kill whatever it is that you're trying to kill, when you charge it, it causes a magnetic effect. So anything that's on the ground, anything that's grounded, it causes it to stick automatically to that surface, but not only stick to it, but because it has an electrostatic charge to it, all the chemicals that are coming out, they're the same charge. So just like if you will hold a magnet to the opposite side and it repels, that's what the liquid does. So when it hits the surface, it bounces off of each other and wraps around your whole surface. So you're not just spraying the one little space that you spray. When you're spraying a table, a chair, it wraps around the whole surface and disinfects and kills whatever it is. And so yeah, God told us one night to write the vision down and make it plain. Going back to those core principal values I was just talking about, he smacked me one night in the face and he said, what did I tell you to do? What did I tell you to do? And one of the things that he had been telling me for the longest time is to write the vision down and make it plain. Like he just kept telling me that. And so one night I came in, I told her about what he told me to do. I wrote the vision down. We came in and prayed over it, put it up, and God just started working from there. And within about a month's time, I was certified. We're certified. We're a certified service, and we're registered with the state with our LLCs. And God just moved. When I say, Jenny, when you were just talking a few minutes ago, and you was saying what you were saying, I felt it, because that's exactly what like. Once you give it to God, like we gave it to God. And once I gave it to God and just took that just one little small step just to say, God, okay, I can't do this. I'm giving this to you. And as soon as we did that, he just started making things happen, started sending business, started sending people, started sending resources, and he just made it happen for us and still making it happen as we speak. So yeah, that's God is good. And, just he also told me, look what I did with one scripture. I felt him tell me, look what I did with one scripture that you remember. So if you read my word more,
this guy,
you would be able to have a weapon to be able to move and be able to do many more things. So just, and so he teaching me through this, and I'm building through this as well, my faith and my, our faith, and just, doing what it is we're supposed to do to get back to where it is we're supposed to be. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm
so proud of you. I'm so proud of y'all. Y'all better do it.
Thank you. I told you earlier in the call before everybody else got on. It came from watching couples like yourselves coming up and making sure that, you know what I mean, seeing that love and seeing those core values. My line, I'm telling you, watching and seeing couples like yourselves and couples that I'm telling you. So
I know she was like, we want y'all to talk with Jenny and I was like, with Jenny and Jason.
It was an honor. Yeah. It was definitely an honor to be able to sit down with y'all and be able to have this time to share with others and show them that marriage is what it is. Marriage is where it's at.
Marriage is dope. Marriage is dope. It really is. Sure. It really is. But just like Octavia said, you got to keep them eyes open. You got to pay attention. And make sure you're positioning yourself to be successful by being Christ-centered. Position yourself to have a successful marriage by keeping Christ in the forefront. And he's going to light up those runway lights so you know what path to take. And he will open up those doors, just like we were talking about. He'll, what they say, and pour you out a blessing, and there will not be room enough to receive it. Come on, Friendship Chapel. We know how it goes. It was some good questions over here.
We'll take one more, but I was going to say at the bottom, you should see support this guy, his phone number, his email. Make sure y'all write that down so that you can be able to support. So you'll see it at the bottom of the screen. We'll take one more question. So we have one, and thank you, Mike, for that question. And then we have one more. Did you ever make a mistake in your marriage, And if so, what did you do to fix things?
I can speak on that personally. And I can combine it with the other question that somebody had. Do you talk to your peeps about your spouse? And I would probably say that is a mistake that people make, is to tell too much.
Exactly.
In a marriage, in a relationship, your job is to protect that relationship and absolutely protect it. Now, let me go ahead and give this disclaimer. If you are being abused, if you are being hurt physically, mentally, in some type of way, get out. Point blank, period. Get out. And so that may be something that you need to talk to somebody about. Okay. So in situations like that, absolutely. Tell it, get out. But as far as, your personal business and telling each other's business and stuff like that to your sisters and brothers and cousins and aunties and all of that. That's not cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's not cool. And that can be a mistake because you got to understand you were individuals before you became a couple. And your family was your family before you became a couple. And your family is always going to ride for you. And when you've forgiven your spouse for whatever they've done, then your family might not be so forgiving. And how awkward would that be for them to walk into that situation and be a total outcast? That's not protecting your spouse. That's not putting your spouse first. That's not protecting your relationship. And so, yeah, I mean, you make mistakes every day in a relationship. I mean, no relationship is perfection. Nobody is perfection. But you always have to be willing, first of all, to apologize, and then also to forgive, but also sincerely apologize and sincerely forgive.
Yep.
There are some things that will take more time to forgive. There are some things where you might have to step back and say, okay, what am I really apologizing for? Am I apologizing because I messed up, or am I apologizing because you're mad? Like,
Right.
That's a good one.
I mean, just being honest. And so I think I've probably put him in a position like that where he's just apologized because I was mad, not really because he really knew what I was mad at, but my bad. Okay, I'm sorry. Can we be happy now? But yeah, you make mistakes, but it's also about boundaries. What are you willing to take? What are you willing to accept? And if I could go back to what Octavius was saying earlier about being single and keeping your eyes open, recognize those flags. You've seen them.
That's a part of paying attention.
Don't be blinded by, oh, I love him. Oh, she's so cute, or whatever, that you don't recognize those flags. And then you find yourself in a situation that you didn't mean to be in.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's a question from an hour ago, but it all really comes full circle about your values. What are you willing to accept? What can you forgive? Like, what do y'all call them? Deal breakers? Is that what it's saying? It's new, I don't know. But what are those things? And, you know, and again, always just putting each other first. Right. And, you know, yeah, you fight, but like, fight fair. Don't say things that you know are gonna hurt him. Don't say that, because, like, you know, we've been together a long time, so he knows what would totally break me down. And I know some stuff that I could say that would totally break him down. But I would never chill. But I would never do that. Because again, I'm protecting my marriage, I'm protecting my home, I'm protecting my relationship in that way. And we both have that as a value, that we just would not do that. And so when you're always considerate of the other person, you're considerate of your relationship, you respect your relationship in every way, then you will communicate, then you will care for each other, then you will pray for them, you will do all of those other things that will align your relationship to be successful.
That's right.
I love it. Oh, you got something?
I was just gonna say, if I could just add just a small portion to also talking to your family, talking to social media.
Woo!
Like, did I say something, Miss Preston? Did I say something? Okay. Talking to social media. No. Like, that's one thing that I respected about one of the things I respected about her the most is that I never had to worry about that. I never had to worry about even though I wasn't really on social media, but still, like, I know. Like, I didn't have to worry about the subliminals that sometimes, you know, where people know what you're talking about, and you know that you know what I mean. All these little things, those are the biggest. Because as a man, I can speak from a man's perspective. Like, just the level of respect like that will just, you know what I mean? It takes you to a whole nother level, because it's like, you know, okay, now I can't trust you. Now you tell it, now you know, it takes the trust away. And so if I could give any advice to anybody out there who may, you know, need to hear that as far as social media, leave it alone. Like, it's especially when it comes to your relationship. Yeah, it's too sacred for that many people to have access to your relationship. So yeah.
And everybody don't want to see you win either. So I mean, I totally agree with what y'all saying. Yeah. So I think if we don't have any other questions, we'll end with the topic of our whole night segment. What's love got to do with it? So however y'all want to wrap it up, that's how we'll wrap up this session. What's love got to do with it? And then we'll close out.
So we're answering this.
Yeah, I wanted y'all to answer because
okay. I was about to play the song. We were about to jam a little bit. Okay. I would say, I mean, you want to? I've been talking a lot. Am I talking too much? No. Yeah. Okay. I would say love has everything to do with it. What? I mean, it has everything to do with it. I mean, you know, first off, you know, like we've been saying, and this is just, you know, keeping it real. Like, God, you know, that love that you have in your relationship, that respect, but that love is what is going to motivate you to make sure that you check in every day. Like, and when I say check in, I don't mean like, I mean, you check in. Like, you have to mentally make sure that if you want your relationship, if you want your marriage to be strong, that you have to clock in. Like, you have to clock in. You got to check into what's going on, right? You got to check things out. You got to ask questions. You got to make sure you okay today. What's going on with you today? What's the, you know what I mean? Like, you have to check in to your relationship and it takes love to do that, right? You have to have some deep love to want to make sure that you're mentally your best person, you're physically your best person for the one that you say you love and the one that you say you want to be there for. And so I would say, you know, love has everything to do with it. Has everything to do with it. And you got to make sure that you're showing that love and not just saying it, but you're actually showing actions. You're actually, you know, moving in a way that you're showing that you love, you know, the person that you're with and the person that, you know, you're spending your life with. So yeah, love has everything to do with it.
Perfect. The persons, do y'all have anything to add to that?
I've been talking the whole time.
Yeah, I know. That's what you do. You talk. You're a teacher. You talk.
Okay. Well, since he said I talk, but I would, you know, co-sign with what the Jeffries were saying, in that love is an action. In this instance, what does it have to do with it? It has everything to do with it, in the fact that love, it can be an emotion, but when you're talking about spending your life with someone, that love is more of a verb. It's an action word. And so you have to show that love in every way that you can and make that person feel that love through your actions every single day. So yeah, everything to do with it.
Exactly.
Love it. Love it. Well, we thank you guys, both the Prestons and the Jeffries, for taking the time out. So this one a little longer than we expected, but we let God have his way, and we thank you guys. We are going to have another YAMS type thing, kind of like this. It's called Questions and Confessions. You do not want to miss that. It's going to be.
You got one on the way. Well, my confession, then I'm gone, and I don't know what it is. Part two of my confession.
Look at Jenny plugging there. So that one's going to be kind of similar. We want to make sure that everyone feels, you know, we can grow as a ministry, we can grow as individuals, everything. So Questions and Confessions, February 13th, 11 a.m. You don't want to miss that. I think that one may be on a Zoom call, so we will be sending something out soon. I don't think it'll be on this platform, but we'll still let you guys know. So listen out for that, Questions and Confessions. And again, make sure you have text YAMS Make sure you text it. I think we put it. I see a support YAMS ministry, FCBC. Y'all see all the plugs at the bottom. We're trying to grow our ministry. And once again, we want to thank the Jeffries and the Prestons for taking the time out. And now we know what love's got to do with it. It has everything to do with it. So thank you guys. And
Thank y'all for having us.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
All right, y'all. Bye.
Bye.